one of his most senior shadow cabinet members refused a position in that shadow cabinet because he doesn't believe in its leadership. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Andrew Scheer.
I'm here at the United Conservative Party in Calgary, where Andrew Scheer just spoke to the crowd of delegates. Now, as he was speaking, it was widely rumored that there was going to be a walkout of party members. Now, the walkout wasn't as large as it was rumored, but about a dozen members stood up in the middle of Scheer's speech and turned their back on him and walked out. This is exactly what it looked like here. I caught up with them as they exited the room. Here's what they had to say. So Scheer's speaking right now, and just as we're filming this, people had just walked out of his talk. What do you make of that?
Well, I think there was 3 or 4 people that walked out of his talk. They have an axe to grind, from what I can tell. I think Scheer did a terrific job. Does he need to make sure that he brings the party together, that he finds a coalition that can defeat Justin Trudeau? Yes, he does. But let's remember that catastrophic failures of leadership doesn't look like 20-seat growth. We see 3/4 of caucus being lost when we see bad leadership. Andrew Scheer, I think, did an admirable job given the situation. And if there's former campaign supporters of Bernier that are disappointed, I think that could be expected.
So I think what they just told me as I was asking them questions was that, Andrew Scheer lost an election when all of the cards were stacked in his favor. Justin Trudeau committed blackface multiple times, SNC Lavalin, there's so many issues. What does Justin Trudeau have to do to be able to help Andrew Scheer get into office? How long should people wait for that?
I think we look at history when we have a majority government like we saw with the Liberals. A year out from the election, nobody thought the Conservatives could do anything. People were concerned that the Liberals were going to grow. What we saw instead was a good fight from the Conservatives. Now, if you ask Alberta, it's pretty clear what the problems are. And we saw that in the federal election when we saw it go completely blue. But I think there's going to need to be work done reaching out to the east, making sure that Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes are on side. But that being said, I think what we saw was a growing of our base, and it was a good sign for the Conservative movement that we grew in seats and we grew in popular support.
Would you be able to tell me why you just walked out?
Because he's a poor leader, and Alberta and Canada deserve better than having somebody who can't even stand on his conservative convictions and lose to a very winnable election where we had a prime minister that did blackface, was involved in scandal, and yet we still can form government.
Did you expect more humility from him? What could he have done to earn your trust back?
Tonight or in general?
In general.
He could have said that this was on him, that another leader probably would have won this election, let's be real here. That I don't think the GTA, I don't think Vancouver, I don't think they were voting for Justin Trudeau. I think they were just voting for the lesser of what they thought were two evils.
But I do not believe that Andrew Scheer is a man of strong enough conviction and character to beat the separatist movement in Alberta.
What do you think it says when a veteran MP declines a role in his shadow
Well, I
cabinet?
actually worked for Ed Fast for a year. I have a great deal of respect for him. I think he is one of the most respected members of caucus. And I think that when you look at what Andrew Scheer has done, one of his most senior shadow cabinet members refused a position in that shadow cabinet because he doesn't believe in its leadership. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Andrew Scheer.
Now, I wanted to get Scheer's comments on this, and I spoke with Andrew Scheer's press secretary right after this happened. It's a little weird because he says that Andrew Scheer, while he'll be here tomorrow, he has to get back to the east really quickly, so he won't be available for a media press conference. Now, that didn't stop me from going out with my new colleague Abigail around the perimeter of this hotel to try and nab him like we do with most hostile politicians that don't want to talk to us, but he managed to get out before we could get him. We're going to keep you up to date. You can follow me on Twitter @TheRealKeean for live updates about what's going on here. For Rebel News in Calgary, Alberta, I'm Keean Bexte. Thanks for watching our coverage here in Calgary. Be sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Click that little notification bell right next to the subscription button here on YouTube if you haven't yet already. YouTube doesn't notify you anymore when we post a video, and that's just the nature of subscriptions now. If you click that notification bell, you'll stay up to date with everything as it happens.